Hello and welcome to the first ever edition of Brown County Book Club, BCBC. We'll just start off by introducing everyone. We're going to talk about the book Mercy of the Gods by James S.A. Corey in this first episode. So let's just start off. Jonathan, please introduce yourself.
Hey, Jonathan here in Brownwood, Texas. Read the book and accidentally started book 2 before everyone else.
How about you, Jeremy?
I'm over here in Brownwood too. I read the book. It was really interesting. I just got back into reading, so this was a really good one to get into.
Awesome. We know JUG, but go ahead.
Hey, JUG, retired math teacher in Northern California, drinking some beer from here, Petaluma Hen House.
In-house.
Check it out.
And I'm going to moderate today, and I'm RTDL, or Ronnie. And I'm drinking some beer from, you would think it's from California, but it's from Richmond, Virginia. It's Fair Movie Lions, like Brownwood Lions. That's where I got it. But I'm in Stephenville, Texas. I know that's it's a curse word to some people
You
over
shouldn't say that out loud.
west.
Yeah.
But I lived in Brown County for 18 years. So I think that counts. I'm a resident. Okay, so let's start off by talking about Mercy of the Gods by James S.A. Corey. I want to ask everybody, is this the first book that they read? Jonathan, is this the first book you read by James S.A. Corey?
No, I did start The Expanse. I think I got to book 8, and then my JUG asked me to start this series, so I paused on The Expanse, which I really like. And this is really good because I doubt they will tie together, but it's always like, could they possibly? Because just the way The Expanse goes, there definitely could be. I mean, it's like pretty much the whole universe. Who knows what could happen and who gets brought in or not. So I do like this one.
Did you watch the series? I think it was Netflix.
I started season 1. I didn't finish it because it deviated from the books, not a whole lot, but I wanted to finish the series before I started the show.
Okay. What about you, Jeremy? Have you ever read any of this James S.A. Corey?
No, I haven't. This is the first book I read that he wrote. It's really good, really expansive. I really pay attention reading this. It's like, wait, did I miss something? Like, oh,
Yeah. All right. How about Jesse?
Hey. Oh, I got into this because I did watch The Expanse, the movie, the series, I mean. And how many books are in that
There's
series?
10 books, I think.
Wow.
9 or 10.
So it's a really good story, and I just like the way that all the characters interacted with each other. But speaking about it being in the same universe, or if they could tie in, it could be, because who knows what time period they're in.
Right.
It could be many years after The Expanse, or it could be during.
But it would seem like it would be many years after The Expanse if it does tie in. So James, this is the first time I've read James S.A. Corey. I've had The Expanse on my to-be-read pile for a long time, but I did watch the Netflix series. I'm hoping that Netflix was the right place to find it. But so I expected this to be like that, and this is not like that. Not yet. It could be, but it's not. It's not. Well, we'll get into it, but there's not a lot of action in this story. It's more of a psychological thriller, I guess, than anything else. But James S.A. Corey, I was wondering who this was, and I realized it's 2 people.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. So that it's a collaboration. So that's pretty cool.
One thing that's kind of funny to me is that when I put it on my, because I've been listening to the audio version, when I put it on my car, it picks up, it'll show you like whoever the artist is, if it's available. If not, it'll be a generic person. Well, it shows a picture of Jim Carrey as the author of this book, which is just really funny.
That is fun.
Because there's no way I think he could write something like this. But
Who
maybe he
knows?
could, but it just makes me laugh every time I put it on my card.
Well, the concept for this story is pretty interesting. I know, Johnson, when you read that first page where the librarian is it's just a recorded history from a librarian, it didn't make any sense to me. What you make of it?
Well, I had no idea. I was like, because the way it's structured, you're like the librarian, and then you're like, oh, it's what they're saying. It does not compute to what's happening as I'm reading it as a reader. So I'm just curious, like, because I don't think they really did that. He did that, or they did that in The Expanse. They just told the story, from each character's point of view, and not give like an outside force or person's perspective or catalog it. So it's really interesting to kind of get an idea of like, okay, where is this going? What direction could they be heading? And like, who are the characters that are going to be taking place other than humans? And it seems like it's only humans other than like this tidbits here and there that it's from like, this is what I wrote, but not as the story's progressing.
Speaking of characters, Jeremy, there are a bunch of characters, but some of these characters are human, some are alien. Jeremy, do you have any favorite characters or characters you think suck?
I really like the Swarm. I was like, for a long time, I was like, who's the Swarm?
I know.
Is it someone? I thought it was a researcher until you finally figure it out. Oh, I was right. And then when he takes over, or it takes over the other body, it wasn't who I thought they would have taken over.
Yeah, that's all creepy.
Yeah.
How do they take over
I
people?
was like, who?
That's
I
a
need
good
to know
question.
more.
Yeah.
On that topic, I was kind of curious as like, it seems like it should be more strategic on who it would take over for the next person or next body. But it seems since it's been in humans for, I guess it was its second human. I didn't realize this was the second person it took over on for else, but it did like an emotional judgment and strategical to go to the next person instead of being like, if I took this person, I could either push the humans in a certain direction to take over. But it seemed like it's struggling between emotional and strategical.
Yeah. So this book, it starts off with a letter, and then it starts off with an alien invasion. I mean, that's
I thought that was going to happen way later.
But first of all, the setting is not on Earth. There's humans.
Right.
They've been on this planet. I'm going to pronounce it Angian.
Oh,
Yeah.
Angian. Okay. And
I
they
don't know
they
how
don't
you say it.
even remember how they got there. They're so much time has passed that they've lost their history basically.
Right.
So they don't know even how long they've been there.
Yeah, or how they got there.
Yeah.
That was an interesting that's not their native planet, which was
Yeah, they
strange.
know it's not, but yeah, they just want to progress and not worry about the history, which is odd.
So yeah, we're first getting into the politics of this. They've just made some discovery where they can basically, I don't know how you'd say it, but they made this hybrid ecosystem. Maybe one of you guys can explain it. I didn't quite get it.
It kind of sounded like, it almost sounded like they found a way to grow plants, like if there wasn't vegetation on the planet. From what I got, like almost sound like they're like, oh, we figured out how to grow grass or plants on this planet. So it kind of sounded like a wasteland almost.
I think the planet is like it's like alive somehow. The planet itself, it's the thing that makes structures and makes where they actually live and do their work. But also there's the man-made stuff. So they're trying. I guess they succeeded in like using the natural resources from the planet for themselves and helping the environment advance too, or something. They coexist together.
Yeah. So this team with these maybe 6 scientists, I can't remember how many are on it, do this. And then suddenly their work is assigned to somebody else and they're all upset about it. And then what happens? Aliens.
Yeah.
Quick.
Immediate out of nowhere too.
Yeah. But they saw them coming somehow.
Yeah.
Just
But
barely.
way too late. It was way too
way
late.
too late.
And some
So-
of them thought that they could be their ancestors coming back to join them. Wouldn't that be great?
It's being really interesting, but that's not what happens.
No.
So you think he does a good job of, I know on The Expanse, I don't know how it works in the book, but I thought he did a really good job of explaining the world building and how the humans moved out into the solar system. I don't know how well I know he did a great job, but when the aliens invaded, did you have a good concept of what this engine was? You didn't spend too much time on it, I don't think.
No, I felt like it happened too fast for me. I was trying to feel like, because it starts off like with, they're trying to, Daffy is just like, oh, I'm doing this. I have to do this. I have to make these appearances to, not necessarily to appease my aunt or his aunt, but to kind of like do like a jab at her that, hey, I'm here, but I also want to impress this girl. And then like, it's kind of like, it did seem real political at first. And then it was just like, bang, your life, like everyone's life just changed from like either trying to make their life go in a certain direction to like a life of servitude or die pretty much. So it was just way different than I thought it was going to happen. I thought it would be a slow progression to whatever was going to happen, but it was just like, bang, you're our slaves, you're our workers, whatever, and you're not just that you're slaves, but you're animals or you're less than worker people. It was really different than I thought it was going to go for sure.
Yeah, because they show us a strong guy, this Tonner, who's leading this research group, and you think I thought, well, he's going to be the main character. And not that he wasn't for a while, but suddenly subordinate character.
Yeah.
So they tell an origin story. Anybody remember the origin story they told for this engine?
I do not.
Because when I read it, they said something about Pishta's Ark brought him over, right? I don't know if you remember that.
Right. They're just making up myths. They don't know. They're just making up stories, just like.
But Pishta is he was basically Noah, before Noah.
Right.
The Babylonian Noah.
Oh, okay.
And
So
there was a flood and there was an ark, and he was commanded by the gods to build an ark because he had upset the gods. So they had upset the gods. Anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting. So I think James S.A. Corey, those two people are Jim Carrey. They're building off the very first written story. That's interesting to me. I don't know. Weird like that.
It's just that story is a myth too, though. So they're just using that to where did they come from?
It describes a flood. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. If some of this stuff is, not relevant, we can cut it out.
Well, I think it is kind of relevant because like in the little bits that I've got into on book 2, I will classify the spoilers, and if you want to cut it, you can cut it. But they do talk about, or Daffy talks to somebody that is a famous author on their world that like, hey, we need to help slowly tell stories to put things in place that if our generation isn't able to accomplish what we want to and defeat the Karoks, I forgot that pronunciation, but then we need to slowly start telling stories and building or changing the stories that are already in place, making up new ones, whatever we need to make sure that the story is in place. So I feel like what you're saying, it kind of ties into what's going to happen down the road is that like, yeah, it could be all made up or make believe or just storytelling, but there is something ingrained that will benefit us later down the road, even if we're not part of that generation that makes this come to fruition.
So how do you like the way he tells this story? I mean, he starts off with the historical document, and he's doing all this research, but what do you think about the writing style, Jeremy?
I liked it. I thought, like the rest of y'all, was going one way, and then the alien invasion comes, and they're like, "Is this real? Is it not real? Is this just updates on their one communication device they called it, I guess?" And then all of a sudden, it is real, but it's just like the way they took over. I like the world building before. It wasn't really much. It was more like the political we said, but then the way he built up describing their ships and then the new world they take them to and the transfer in space time, however they did that. What was it? How did they call
Asymmetric.
it? Asymmetric
Yeah.
space. Yeah. And they remembered what they're about to do. That was really cool and interesting. The way after they get on off the, I guess, the prison and into their quarters is really good. Very well told, I thought.
Yeah.
It was really horrible on the transit over. When I reread it, and first of all, the transit was much worse than I remembered it being. It was awful.
Man, they just had a match. They all went.
They just had a
Yeah,
map
worse.
to shit on, yeah.
Yeah.
And but also back to the swarm that Jerry was talking about. Now that I went back and I knew that was the swarm and what they were up to, I didn't really see it when it passed to Elsie. I know
I didn't either.
I know it was that girl sitting on the bench. Remember, there's a girl sitting on the bench, and I think her name is Engine. She was the first person to have it, and then somehow it transferred to. I think that she was only outside of their window or their area just to pass it on to Else.
Yeah, I remember thinking for the longest time it was just else. And then it talks about there's another body
Yeah.
inside the swarm. And I was like, and then it finally says that, else is the second person it's hosted or took over. And I was like, I remember thinking it took a long time to really identify what body was in, like a while. And then I was like, oh, it's else. Where did I miss this? Like, did I just skip over? And then I was like, oh, it was originally first talking about another body was inhabiting, and then finally it got to else. And it wasn't as clean. Not that that's a negative thing, but it was really ambiguous to figure out where it was inhabiting and who it was. And the switch over, I did not see that at all.
I couldn't tell what it was, what it was doing, why it was there. You don't really find that out until the end almost.
Yeah, pretty much the end.
Yeah. So there is the main character to me, or maybe you should tell me, anybody tell me who you think the main character in this book is.
I felt like it was Daffod.
Yes.
Because he felt like he was very prominent at the beginning, like, my aunt's this really important person. So I was like, okay, he's setting up, but there's all these other characters, but he still was part of the story. And the ending of the book, I don't know if we want to jump into that now, but the ending of the book, I was like, well, he's definitely set up to be a very prominent character if he's not the main character. But once we started getting all these other people, like in the group, when they joined the group, I was like, he's definitely not the main character, but he's probably like the top 2 or 3, like, who was it? Jessen and, oh man, is it
Tonner?
Yeah, Tonner.
Yeah.
These are definitely the top 3 characters, probably for the remainder of their series, however many books they're going to have.
Yeah. Yes, at first, this Daffod is he's unremarkable, other than he's the bottom of the rung. He's barely this research assistant, but he made it into this group, and I don't think they really value his opinion, but they value the fact that he's got connections to funding through his aunt. So,
yeah.
But he goes through the book, he becomes more and more respected and useful, and toward the end, he becomes, well, basically their leader, I guess.
Yeah.
De facto. He didn't pick it. He was chosen.
Yeah.
So Tonner and Else, to me, were the leaders at first, especially Tonner. And he seems to be arrogant. That's the way I read it.
To say the least. And I actually just finished reading it right now, just a few minutes
Right
ago.
this
And
moment
I
ago.
so at the end, right this second. And the end, do you remember at the end how he just goes crazy in front of the big
Oh, I didn't expect that at all. I was like, really? You're just gonna act like a spoiled child and throw a tantrum?
he had
I
to get his
didn't
arm broken. It was
Yeah,
great.
that was
I,
crazy.
yeah, I think if Daffod wouldn't have done that, then they probably may have all ended up like, was it the night drinkers?
Yeah, just
They could have
gone.
ended up like them.
Oh, cool. Good segue. The night drinkers. So when they get to this planet, they're part of this human moiety. We should probably talk about they're moieties, which just means they're just part of a larger group of animals. That's what they are to the Carricks. But so one of the moieties are these night drinkers. What do you think about these night drinkers?
Terrible people or things,
Terrible
whatever
things,
they
yeah.
are. What are their monkey, sharp teeth type things? They were
Feathered.
just havoc. They wreak havoc
I
throughout the
think of
story.
the monkeys from Wizard of Oz, but go ahead, sorry.
I was thinking more Planet of the Apes.
Mm.
They're a hybrid character, right? Some of these
Yeah,
characters are almost turtles or almost lobsters, and
yeah,
the night drinkers are like some combination.
Well, they also though, yeah, they're from a different. So these Carricks, they go around and they're just conquering the whole
Everything.
universe,
universe.
and they've come across many different species, thousands of species, and they just bring them into their fold and they dominate them. If they're useful, if they're not useful, then they just destroy them.
And this reminds me of Genghis Khan. That's what they would do. They would go and they would take all the useful people and basically just kill the rest. And this is exactly what the Carricks did. And they brought them in and put them in places where they could use them. And when they didn't need them anymore, they just killed them. No feeling at all.
Yeah, that was interesting part when the librarian was telling them what to do. You need to make this substance for the turtle or thing,
Not
and then like you
turtles.
need to be useful. And they're like, and then when they talk about, do we need to start growing our own food and fending for ourselves, making our own medicines, because they're just, if you're not useful, you're not alive. That was
Yeah.
like, was that the test within the test type deal? Like, what are they testing type questions I had in my head?
I think that's a good point, because the one thing that it may have been Daffod, it may have been someone else, but they're like, I think they're testing us to see how useful we are. Because have you noticed that the food's not as good? These things aren't showing up anymore. Like he lists several things, and I'm sure all the other people noticed it, but he's the only one to call it out in the group and be like, hey, we need to not just go through the emotions. We need to make things happen, or we may not have anything to survive on. And I think that was a really good point to call out, because if they're not useful to the Carricks that are dominating the universe or the galaxy or wherever they are, then why keep them?
Yeah. And Daffod is very good at reading, not just people, I guess Carricks as well. He observes and he learns that's when the reason he breaks Tonner's arm at the end is so that he saw that one of the Carricks would get disciplined in that way. A librarian, I believe, got disciplined in.
The night drinker, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. He thought, well, that may be the way to, I'm taking care of this. We're not a threat to you. I will get my people in line. That also made them choose him as their leader at the end too. But he's a great observer, and he tries to understand what makes these entities tick.
Yeah, he's saying over and over, I just want to figure out what they're thinking. How do they think about things? And it's not until the very end when he says, I finally see what they're doing. And of course, we know all along, because we're following along what they're doing, which is, it's just so much different types of creatures. Like
Yeah,
they grew, you can sense there's sense of smell is really good. They can look at your brain waves. They can give you senses, like they can make you feel happy or sad. That's what the swarm is doing. And
Yeah.
I think the Carrick senses everything, and if they don't do it, they have somebody that does do something.
Yeah, speaking on that census, when they brought, what was it, Justin's brother? Or what's his?
Jellet.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they brought him and that librarian was asking him about, did you coordinate this attack or were you part of this? And when I didn't realize that the swarm had gone into him, I thought they were controlling him. Like, I thought they were controlling him to make him to try to get Daffod to break or something. That's what I thought was going on.
Yeah, because after Daffod turns him in, he comes back a totally different kind of thought maybe a zombie, or maybe he was being controlled, as you say.
I thought, I was like, he was so like gung ho about like, we need to make a stand. We need to do this. Get me this gun to give me a bullet or whatever to take these things out, that I was like, he is going to be so against Daffod in this testimony or whatever you want to call it, that he's going to fight for his life and be like, no, you traitor to the human race or whatever they want to call themselves. But he was just like, yeah, they did that. They said that I was real, like, this guy's real sus right now. So I assumed it was a swarm just because of conversation beforehand, but I didn't know for sure. And then when they found Elsa's body, I was like, oh, he definitely, or they, or whatever you want to call it jumped somewhere else. But I didn't know jumping would leave that current vessel dead or exposed.
When they jump into somebody, there are two consciousnesses in that entity now, right? Which is strange because, and it seems like the host or the inhabited entity, say Jellet or whoever, their emotions can control this host, and or at least influence them a little bit.
Yeah, and by the end, all three of them are inside, or I guess there's three inside of Jellet. Or actually, he's really the swarm, and there's three people inside of him. So that's just nuts. It was crazy enough when there was just two of them.
Yeah, it was very confusing at times. I was like, who's talking to who?
Yeah, because they all could talk to the swarm, which was interesting. And instead of just like invoking their memories, they could have a conversation.
There were several scientists that made it. I guess we focused at the beginning on this core group of scientists with Tonner and Els and Jessen and Jellet and the lady and the man, and I can't think of their names right now. The one she shot the raccoon point blank, I believe.
Yeah.
And then there was a funny guy who's always making the jokes.
Kemper has the old lady that never forgives them, and she's just so angry just because her husband died. I mean,
that happens. Come on.
But so James Corey saved a few, and it makes me wonder. I mean, for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And Daffod's the ringleader. I think. I wonder what's going to happen in the next book. I guess he's setting us up for something. I wonder if it's going to be more action in that book.
Don't tell us, Jonathan.
There's no action. I'll tell you that.
There's no action. Okay.
But one thing I do like that trickles from The Expanse is that there is a lot of science fiction or science-based technology is what I should say. And one thing about from The Expanse is like, it was all like heavy technology that humans didn't understand that could be perceived by someone as like magic, or like, we don't understand it, so we'll just utilize it because this is the way things are. And I like that he really talks and drills into the science stuff as if you already know. So like, I started going back to school in January for a degree in astrophysics. So some of the stuff I know because of classes I'm taking, but I was like, if I did not take these classes, I would have no idea what's going on. I would have to research and dig into it. But they're just talking like, hey, it's so far in the future that this is like, everyone understands what I'm saying. And it's not just like dumbing it down for everybody. It's a really kind of propels your knowledge into what's going on, and just is like, hey, we're so far in the future that this is just the way things are. This is how we talk about things. This is how we describe people. And if you don't understand it, like, it kind of pushes you to research and look it up so that it's not, I guess, just dumbing it down for everybody. It's just like, you want to know. If you want to know, you're going to look into it and dig in further and then continue reading, which is what I like. It's one thing I like about the way they wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about the Jessen.
Guessing,
But
yeah.
she was the one that was like, she had some mind problems, psychological problems, but she was taking medication, and whatever that medication is, somehow they fed it to this little berry and it reproduced it for them.
They did synthesize some medicine.
Is that what they're doing in biology nowadays?
Yes, they have a
Future.
magical berry.
Yeah. Their whole mission was to make food for this almost turtle.
Right.
And you think of this, they're describing this turtle almost, I think maybe it's Justin is talking about it, and it's almost this cute little creature. And this creature is the reason they're alive. The fact that they haven't synthesized this food yet, and they have no idea really, I think, that that's what was saving them.
I'm also curious, like, how special is this creature that their fate is depending on it? Like, what do they need to figure out for this creature? Or is it just like so complex that it's like, hey, this is the test. Are y'all worthy to join us?
Yeah. Is it even special?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, is this just something where, are you smart enough to figure this out? Then you'll be useful type deal. Because as many planets or universes they've been to, how many people have they tried to do it and weren't able to and just got eliminated? That's what I was kind of thinking. Like, is this just like, are you smart enough to be kept alive?
Are you smarter than a monkey?
Planet of the Apes. Yeah. But this whole Carix, I don't know how you say it, but they have this hierarchy, and you can move up. And I think that what the humans they're testing humans to maybe move them up in the moiety. I don't know.
Yeah. Are y'all just insects or y'all animals? Like, it's weird that they specifically call everything animals unless you're a Carix. So, like, how useful of an animal are you?
Speaking of that,
they physically change themselves too.
Yeah,
they can grow bigger.
It kind of was hard for me to grasp at the end. That happened to, what was their Carrick's name that they followed? Like, I was like, did it just die, or did it actually transform into something different, but it still kept the same knowledge? That's something I'm still not sure about.
That was the librarian.
Yeah.
Kurt Klau.
Yeah. Interesting name.
Kurt Klau is the one that was in battle, and then he came back, and then he had to interrogate the fivefolds that they captured. He didn't get anything out of it, I don't think. But he actually isn't he the one that broke the other guy's arm?
And then Breaker?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then he moved up in rank somehow.
And they could tell that so he changed forms, but they could tell that it was him because he had a notch. and that, I guess, maybe something that happened to him earlier in his history.
Well, there's so much going on in his book. Now that I think about it, it's too much to talk about.
It's so much going on. Like, when you start talking about how they were able to change them, I was like, do they change other races into the Carrigs? I just thought of that. I was like, do they make the worthy ones, they think, into Carrigs and move them up?
They could be.
I don't know. That's just a thought. It just, once y'all started talking about that, made me think.
And that actually reminds me of one of the lines I wanted to find, but I couldn't find it right now. Was when they're discussing the humans, I guess he's just, I don't know who's talking to. He's saying, they don't have They can't use their pheromones to do anything. They don't interbreed or change people's genetics. And then the one little line it says they have no quill. What is that?
Is that the swarm or
No, that was the Carricks
Eric said that?
talking about the humans.
Hmm.
What does that mean? No quill. It just stood out to me.
I don't know.
I didn't catch
Good
that.
question. But the
I'll
fact that
find
they
it.
started this off with a historical document from this librarian to Claw tells me that, or I feel like it's telling us that there's something has happened and we're getting the history of it.
Right.
And then at the end, we learn that the Carricks are in a war with some other aliens, I guess, or race. And that this swarm and this host is here as a spy.
Right. And that
They send intelligence back to this other enemy we don't know anything about, I believe.
and that whole where the captive came from, the fivefold, that whole battle, it was just a ruse so that they could they built a whole planetary system with fake creatures on it that the Carricks thought they were gonna, just attack and grab
Yeah.
eight
Just
and
what,
one
yeah.
eighth of them and all that, kill 1/8, whatever, do whatever they do. But they weren't even real. They were hidden like behind another planet or something. It
I thought that was interesting because that did start out of nowhere, that chapter, and I was like, "What's going on?"
yeah.
And then and I was like, "Is this going to tie into a race that we're going to come in contact with you, or that the humans will reach out to at some point, or are we going to team up together, or is this just a one-off situation that we may never follow up on at all?" Because they did their damage, but so did the Carricks, but the Carricks kind of didn't win, but they didn't really lose because they still exist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think everybody died there except for that Eckhart Tolle that escaped. I believe that's what happened.
I don't remember that part well.
Just too much.
How
I
much
think that's
happens
what
in this?
I feel like they're the ones that sent the swarm to Earth, or not to Earth, to Engine. So they made the swarm, sent it to Engine, who got it implanted into that first person. That's what I believe.
Okay. Well, what could this, the Carricks seem to be this invincible race that's been around for a long time. And then all of a sudden, they're in a war. What could be as bad as the Carricks, or what could be an adversary for the Carricks?
That's a thought I was having. Like, what could, as much as they've done and as easily as they take over, like, what other force out there is going to be able to at least fight against them?
Mm.
That's what I've been wondering. Like, are we going to get that in the second book? Like, what is this other race that's actually trying to fight them or be at war with them?
I think that's a good prediction. I think that we're going to maybe get a taste of how this enemy is. And I know it's going to be surprising because the Carricks, who could have thought of the Carricks? These two guys, I guess.
And is the swarm the good guys? Are they the good guys? They're
Right
killing
now they do
humans.
seem like it.
They take over human lives and
Any lives. It doesn't have to be humans, but there's one thing that I did catch about the Carricks or the swarm is that it said that it specifically says I'm a weapon against the Carricks, but it says it has all this information and knowledge passed on to it, but it doesn't recall all of it. It was just it's ingrained into me. And right now this is kind of I guess it was like a rebirth or something, but it still had that information against all the other bodies or whatever the swarm, whatever it came from, it has that, but it can't apply all of that right now. I guess maybe it might be instinct or reflexes when it needs it, but we don't really know its full history. We kind of have an idea of what it wants to accomplish, but what happens after it accomplishes that? Are they going to be worse than the Carricks, or are they going to inhabit everything and be a real big hive mind type thing? We Yeah, that's really interesting to see because I did immediately, I was like, I want to know what they're up to or it's up to because it's just so much unknown. Even at the end of the book, we still know very little about it.
Yeah. All right. Predictions.
Yeah, prediction. I have one. What if so we're so far into the future, they've already settled this engine, the humans. Maybe they have other planets out there that humans have are settling and have been there for many, many years. So it could be that they're advanced. I mean, they're very advanced. Humans are also advanced. They're just not as advanced as the Carracks. Or maybe the Carracks aren't even that advanced. They just have no one thing, how to
Yeah.
take over and control. But all their animals are advanced in
Yeah.
specific ways.
I mean,
But I think the humans may come back.
Jug, you said this earlier that like humans have been on Angea so long that they don't even know how they got there. So they could be far more advanced than the Carracks and an adversary to the Carracks. We could find out more in book 2.
Right.
But like there's a lot going on. Like we don't know a lot of even like of the main characters' historical backgrounds as far as like their ancestry and how much they have to do with like, did the Carracks choose this planet for a reason, or is it just part of their galactic empire expanding? We don't know yet.
We don't. So this is a trilogy, 3 books, right?
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
I read
it's
that.
the Captives War.
So this is book
trilogy.
1. I think that Daphid, I don't know what's going to happen with the humans. I feel like maybe this is my prediction. Daphid, the human race will be whittled down to Daphid and just a few people that are there. And they'll basically rebuild it like Noah did. That's my
Yeah, that's
prediction.
an interesting thought. Like where it's him and a few people somehow defeat the Carracks and take their spaceship to find probably a new home with all the planets information. I don't know. It's very, very. I don't know how you say it. It could go any way at this point. We
It's
like I said, we don't know a
It's
whole lot at all.
expensive.
We know very little, and we read the whole book.
And their people are still on engine, right? Presumably,
Yeah, what?
7th,
Yeah.
8th of the
They just
population.
may not have been useful or maybe useful later down the road. Yeah.
That surprised me because when they first came in, I thought they killed everybody that was there, but I guess they didn't.
No, they do talk about like,
Yeah.
I still have someone back home, but they kind of pause. And this is like, it's kind of up in the air. Like, are they still there waiting for you or are they not there at all? It doesn't really give you details or information about that.
Well, I kind of thought that they were still there because he said we're going to wipe out 1/8 of the population.
Yeah, they did say that.
Just to show you we can do it. And they collect these people. You don't really think they took the other 7/8 of the population.
That's a lot of people.
I mean, I don't know how big the planet is or how many people there are, but I don't really think they took everybody.
I think if they say in the Carrick says that he did spare all the human. He saved their lives basically, or maybe it's
you're right.
them speculating. Somebody says it,
That
maybe
death had saved their lives. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Any other final thoughts? We have about 45 minutes going here.
I think one thing that a prediction I have is that I think it'll probably boil down to like this worm versus the Carracks. And then I kind of feel like this may be way far fetched, is that it might be like the Last of Us.
Yeah.
But instead of being like mindless creatures, it's like this swarm has a agenda and they want to make this happen. So they could be like this huge population and they could really be like a numbers versus technology type thing. And then who knows what other skills or abilities they acquire along the way that could benefit them at the end. And the humans could just be in the middle and like, obviously, which side do we pick? Oh, I don't know. But like, which one's going to be most detrimental to our race?
Human exceptionalism. Okay. All right. So we're going to discuss the next book, I guess, at some point. Do you want to do that after read the whole book and discuss it, or do it maybe chapter by chapter? Like, it's up
Maybe
to
a
you.
Chapters are pretty
midpoint or what?
short.
Is it shorter than the previous book?
You have the second book. I don't.
I didn't
But
finish it though. Or
but just judging from this book, the chapters are pretty short.
So do like 3 chapters at a time, or just do the whole book.
I feel like the second book does go faster, but because it doesn't have to explain or build up, it's just like we're already here. This is our living situation. This is how we're dealing with X, and let's move forward. And new things do pop up, which are interesting, but I do think the chapters aren't as full of like building up to something that's not going to happen, but let's just move forward and deal what we got in front of us.
Well, if it's a shorter book, we could just do the whole book. But if it's about the same, we could do like a halfway point.
That's what I was kind of thinking too.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay, I'm gonna order my book right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, you just now finished book 1 20 minutes ago.
You told me this book changed your life, and you didn't even finish it.
That's it.
This book did change my life. Thank you.
The carrots are coming. My roommate's a swarm.
Okay, man. That's all I have. I'll load this up and I'll edit it and put it up there so you take a look at it, see what you want to do with it. Oh, yeah. But we got to say goodbye. So how are we going to say that? Everybody say goodbye with your double guns.
All
That
right.
way.